Hell yeah. I don't ever get tired of that intro. I mean, this is my first show that's mine, so I guess I afford that privilege. What's up, everybody? I'm Joe Carlton. I'm joined by Ric Avery and Matt Wood. We are Scott Fishbowl Live Boston league mates for the past couple of years. I know Rick is drafted next to me all 3 years, including this year. Matt, I don't believe is in our league this year. Matt, what division are you in this year?
The one where the slackers show up and then maybe get in a slot because Rick says, "Hey, don't forget," because they'll fill up soon.
Oh, you didn't sign up. I signed up the year before. What are you waiting for? No? Yeah, so this is episode 5. We're going to learn a little bit about Rick and Matt, and then we're going to discuss Rick's Scott Fishbowl rankings, top 10 quarterbacks and top 20 flex overall. We'll, evaluate some of the players in the list. We'll maybe ask Rick and Matt if there's anybody not on the list that they like, and that's pretty much it. So we're going to dedicate it to Scott Fish. I do want to say that I got to shout out Jeff Lambert because he replied to my Aces Up podcast is going live tonight post on X with a link to donate to Scott Fish. Let me put that up on the banner. Everything is matched up to $1,500 when you donate through that link right there, fantasycares.org/GF2. So thank you, Jeff, for that. We'll let that run for the duration of the show. So anybody sees that, definitely donate, get your money's worth. I'll talk about it, in the second half of the show as well when there's more viewers, but I just wanted to put that out there now so I didn't forget about it. And now we'll get into the personal interviews. So, Rick, we'll start with you. Why don't you give us a little bit about your background, where you hail from, what you do outside of fantasy football, any hobbies. Give us a quick brief rundown of Ric Avery.
Originally from Colorado, moved here to Salem, Massachusetts, 2019, right before COVID hit. Let me think here. What do I like to do outside of fantasy football? Listen to a lot of music, play golf, input data on things. That's pretty much it.
Nice. DFS. What kind of music we talking about here? Everything? Or?
Mainly heavy metal.
Heavy metal. Nice. What's your favorite? Give us one favorite. I know you may not have one an exact favorite, but give us something that you listen to today.
Oh, what I listened to today? That's the band Helmet. Great
nice.
band.
I never heard of it. So.
Great nice. 90s alternative
Throwback.
Metal band.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
Dynasty G-Gens in the house. What's up? What's going on, man? Appreciate you joining us. All right, Matt, your turn, brother.
Yeah, from Eastern PA, moved to Eastern Mass in 2008. Summers in 2008, full-time in 2013 for work. I'm a data scientist by trade. Fantasy stuff been playing since 2008. Do a couple salary cap dynasty leagues, which were my first dynasty leagues, hard mode. Did a good bit of DFS and best ball. I think last year I drafted 300 best ball teams across the 4 main platforms if you count FFPC.
Nice, that's a lot. Good for you. Good for you, Matt.
Yeah. So when I'm not doing, it was.
I do a lot, but not that many. Jeez.
too much zero or it's all like $3 and $5 and
I know.
Single entry $20 and less contest. So even on a bankroll of a couple $100, you can amass some. When not doing that sort of direct fantasy stuff, I'm a writer for Pete Overzet's randomizer shows. It's like Hot Ones, but for best ball teams. So go check that out.
I actually, not to cut you off, but I actually just learned that from Rick a few minutes ago. I had no idea about that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so they're I think Wednesdays this season at like 1 or 2 o'clock. So they're good. Yeah, outside of that, golfing. I'm a winter runner because I guess I've been in New England long enough where you get 2 warm days and you complain about it being summer already. Pretty much it.
Nice. All right. So Rick, so Matt gave us his fantasy background a little bit. So why don't you tell us when you started playing?
Well, to go back, I first started playing fantasy baseball and hockey in
absolutely,
like 2006. And then after that, I got into fantasy football around 2008.
Nice. Oh. Okay. What types of leagues you play in? I know you're in the Bear League. Why don't you tell us about the Bear League? Promote that.
Oh yeah, I run a 36-team fantasy league, which involves craft beer trading. Matt's in it. We have a Discord to that. It's fun. We have like a fantasy advice channel right now, and it's just all Scott Fishbowl information. So it's informative as well.
Well, it's nice that Boston drafts last, and so you can get all the ADP and all of the takes about the room. It turned on me like this, so you don't do that.
It's nice until you're watching all these other people in Vegas and Houston, Dallas, or wherever drafting and having a good time, and you're like, when's that going to happen to me? Why are we last? But I guess we're last. I think we've been last every year. Right? Every year I've been, we've been last. So it's at Gillette Stadium this year at the Harp, right outside Gillette. Really looking forward to that. It's a nice little venue. I don't know if you guys been there before. Have you guys been there?
No.
Nope.
Just to the museum next door. Doesn't count.
Nice. All right. So why don't you tell us about, or Matt, we'll start with Matt since Rick just talked. Why don't you tell us about your involvement in Scott Fish? How many Scott Fishes have you been a part of, and give us a little brief rundown of your experience with
yeah, I think just since the lives started, and I think that's equal parts because they're a little bit easier to get into. If you're willing to show up, they're willing to have you, as opposed to the larger field where doing a remote draft is a little bit easier from a logistics standpoint for everybody. So they're a little bit more in demand as well. Did pretty well that first year. Ended up in the 2, maybe 3 weeks deep into that sprint. And then last year I was too much of a zero RB bro, and best ball portfolio and Scott Fish. Most of my redraft shares actually too all went kind of tits up because of the slightly lower production across that position, especially in the first 4 to 6 rounds. So
I agreed. So last year I was if a redraft anyways, I was doing heavy RB builds. I thought if you could grab 2 of the top like 7 or 8, then you should, if you had that opportunity, you should probably take it. I wasn't forcing it, but if that's kind of how I was looking at it, and I kind of feel the same this year. I feel like the last couple of years, zero running back can hit, but you really, really, really got to connect the dots well. Is one thing about that strategy. I will say that. Rick, why don't you tell us about your involvement in Scott Fish and your experiences?
Yeah. So I think we all started the same year, Scott Fishbowl 13.
Yep.
And I think we're all drafted in the same, like back to back to back.
Yeah. You were 5, or you were 6. I was 4. No, you were 5. I was 4. Matt was 6. That was the year Matt had the Miami stack. I remember, and his team was rocking and rolling.
Yeah. little Raheem Mostert went a long way that season.
Yeah.
So yeah, started Scott Fishbowl 13. Did Scott Fishbowl last year, and then doing it this year, all Boston live. First year, I think I semi-finaled or made the finals the first year, and then last year went out first round in the playoffs. Just to so many injuries. I'm surprised my team just made it to the playoffs at that point.
I remember you went 1 week further than me in 13. That's what I do remember.
Okay.
I was rolling on one quarterback, though. I lost Kirk Cousins, and I literally didn't. I started another quarter. I forget who I picked up, and they got me like a 6. And I was like, yeah, no more quarterback for me. I'm just gonna play other players and hope for the best. And I got as far as I could. I mean, I will say this: the three of us, I think, in outside, and I think EK Baller might have been the other one. We kind of were in the top tier from that specific year. I know last year, me and Rick made the playoffs. Matt had, you had some injury. I saw the guy. You didn't have a bad draft. I thought your draft was good. We talked about that before we left the live draft last year. But you had some adversity, I should say, throughout the season, and kind of did you in. And I don't think did you make it? Did you even make the playoffs? I don't remember.
No, I think I came within like 20 points of the cut line, and so was sweating
that's
those
right.
last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I remember you. That's right. You were close, and you had more points than some of the people in other leagues that got in, I believe. So yeah, it had us questioning maybe there should be like a percentile of the overall finish that you should get in as like a wild card if you didn't get in through your league.
Yeah,
I kind of like that actually.
I knew that week 11, week 12, whenever the last week of the regular season was starting to look a little bit weak. So I started turning my attention to other league sweats at that point. Didn't sweat it too much.
All right, so why don't we jump into some Scott Fishbowl strategy talk?
This is a Travis Hunter segment, right?
This is
yes.
Yeah.
Indeed it is.
So a funny thing about Travis Hunter, I've been letting Rick grab him in all of the mock drafts that we've been a part of. It might not be the case the real day. Just throwing it out there.
Take him.
When that turn comes around, if nobody else really sticks out to me, I will.
I think he's going to be taken earlier than you think.
Yeah, probably, because that's the spot. That spot where you've been picking him, that's the spot where I want to take him. I'm not reaching to get him.
Yeah, round 4 I don't think it's going to happen.
Why'd you have to mention the round? What's wrong with you, Rick? Come on. All right. So I just want to go over some of the scoring changes real quick. I know passing touchdowns are worth 6 now. So the passing quarterback gets a little bump from last year, not much of a bump. It is ultra flex, which means you can have 2 spots where you can start a quarterback. You don't have to have a quarterback. And then there's 9 flex. So it's 11 starting lineups any way you want it. Roster construction out the window. You don't have to have a dominant tight end. You don't have to worry about being in the top tier running backs. All that's out the window. It's kind of a best player approach, I guess. That's kind of how I'm seeing it. Rick, I'm going to ask you about quarterbacks first.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it's necessary to have a quarterback? Should you go without a quarterback, or should you probably get one, or even 2? You should probably have 2, right?
You would have 2, yeah. If you want to, I think if you want to make the playoffs and go further than that, you need at least 2. Okay.
What about you, Matt? You're in agreement on that?
Yeah, probably the highest floor position.
Right.
Maybe with the exception of 1 or 2 of the elite tight ends on account of the tight end premium, depending upon what site you're on,
right.
And opportunity for higher ceiling than, I don't know, maybe most of the running backs. So
Burrow bump. Yes, Burrow definitely gets a bump in this format. I believe 100%. I play in the high stakes league platform. I play on NFFC does 6-point passing touchdowns as well, and Burrow consistently goes before Jalen Hurts, so it totally makes sense.
Probably number 5 quarterback overall, number 4, right in that range.
It's usually Lamar, Allen, Daniels, then Burrow.
Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah. So totally makes sense. I'm taking the same approach because it's the same exact scoring system. 25 yards is a point, 6-point touchdown. So I already know what Burrow has 500-point potential for sure. So that's kind of how I'm seeing it. I think you definitely want to make sure you get at least one solid quarterback. Probably want two. Not going to lie. Probably want to. Now, doesn't necessarily mean you have to take one early. You can wait, but you definitely need one or two quarterbacks, I think, despite being the fact that you don't have to take one.
One thing I have noticed with the Ultraflex format is quarterbacks are going later, so you can definitely wait and get one like round 8 or something like that, if not later.
Right. I totally agree, Rick. I've always been a wait on quarterback person when it comes to Superflex, but unless you have one of those top 3 picks in the scoring system allots it. Like last year, I had the choice between Burrow and McBride, and you had Chase, and I was like, I can't believe I'm gonna let Rick have the Burrow Chase stack because just the scoring system killed quarterbacks last year, especially guys like Burrow. I was like, I'm going McBride here, and it actually, in my opinion, it paid off for me. Did well for you too because it fit your bill perfect, but that was like a big judgment call. McBride versus Burrow is huge when it comes to Superflex.
Well, the funny thing about that is I got Burrow in the 3rd round last year, and I drafted Kyler Murray with the 1st round, so I would have had a stack either way if you'd passed on.
I didn't realize he floated another round. Holy! I was gonna that was my decision last year was Burrow or McBride. I'm a big Burrow guy, so I usually have him ranked higher than most. I'll sit here and argue that he's better than Patrick Mahomes, but we're not going. That's another argument for another day. But
no run is no fun. That's what I say.
Nice. All right, so why don't we bring up Rick's quarterback rankings, and we'll go through them real quick. We got Lamar at 1, Jaden Daniels 2, Jalen Hurts 3, which I love. We'll get into that in a minute, but I love that part of the ranking. Josh Allen 4th, Justin Fields 5th, ahead of Burrow. Woo! Joe Burrow 6th, Caleb Williams 7, Bo Nix 8, Drake May 9, and Patrick Mahomes closes it out at 10. Rick, explain this list. Explain this list to us real quick before we.
Well, it's just going to focus on the running quarterbacks. So you got Lamar, Jaden Daniels, Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, and Justin Fields, and you get points per rush.
Why Jalen Hurts over Josh Allen? I want to hear this because I agree. I just want to.
I have to look at my stat sheet. Give me 1 second. I wasn't ready for that. Sorry.
I agree with it, but I don't think it has to do anything with rushing.
Tush push is only a yard, fam. It's only a yard.
But you get 6 points for that. And a first down. Let's see here.
6, 7.
So I'm gonna 7.1. Rick, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you why I like it.
Yeah, okay. I pulled it up. So I have more rushing touchdowns for Jalen Hurts. So by 3.
That's the difference.
Yeah, that's the difference.
Here's why I like it. What do you got for passing yards for Jalen Hurts before I explain?
Yeah, give me 1 second. So I have it set for Hurts 3,800.
Woo! That's the answer. You just answered the question. I think Jalen Hurts goes over Josh Allen this year, specifically because he's going to pass more.
Well, I actually have Josh Allen at 4,000. I have Josh Allen more, but I have more rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, but because Jalen Hurts' touchdown rushing ability is more efficient than Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Josh Allen scrambles because he has to. Jalen Hurts scrambles because he can. It's a difference. And that's what makes Jalen Hurts more efficient as far as, when he takes off. He's got Barkley. I mean, I think Barkley gets dialed back a little bit volume-wise this year. Not a lot, but enough that Jalen Hurts is going to pass. We know that Philadelphia can pass when they need to. I think that they have a tougher schedule this year. It's not the toughest, but it's a tougher schedule. They're Super Bowl champs. They're going to get everybody's best effort this year. Their defense, I think, clicked on all cylinders last year. They're still a very solid defense, but I think that there's some regression coming, and it's going to lead to more passing volume. And this is kind of why I like Jalen Hurts over Josh Allen. That coupled with the fact that Josh Allen has a nightmare down the stretch schedule, if you ask me. He's got to go on the road to Cleveland. He's got to come here to Foxborough. He's got to deal with the Philadelphia defense, and that could lead to a shootout, but Philadelphia is not shooting that game out unless they have to. We all know that. If they run up the score and they let their defense play the defense that they do when they play with the lead, that game isn't going to be a shootout. So I'm down on Allen for that reason, and I'm higher on Hurts. But I'll let you – that was my explanation. I love that ranking. I think it's great.
Yeah, so, it's just pretty much rushing touchdowns for – Jalen Hurts to Josh Allen. I have Josh Allen with more passing yards, but I do have Hurts with more rushing touchdowns. And all these quarterbacks are based off a 17-game schedule. So, like in the flex section, you'll see some players that may be questionable based off injury risk. But I don't. The thing with the scoring is these quarterbacks shouldn't go until later in the first round based off all the information I have. But you'll see like Lamar Jackson go like 105 or just because of the Superflex option.
Right.
One quick question of clarification on the Allen Vice Hurts before we put a pin in that. The Josh Allen stats, do they bake in likelihood of James Cook holdout or slow startup in the first couple of weeks of the season?
I didn't include that. I don't think it's going to be an issue.
I don't think so either. Yeah, I don't think so either.
Once more information comes in, then I can adjust on the fly. But like I usually in my rankings, I also bake in an ADP table so I can tell who's getting drafted where as well. But
nice.
I'll probably put that in starting Monday because that's when all the slow drafts start as well.
Why don't you give us just a quick, brief overview of how you come up with your rankings and your model? Like what goes into it? Just give us some detail.
A lot of stats from a lot of websites, and it gets combined into an average.
Okay.
It's like a blended model.
Okay. All right. So we got Justin Fields at 5. So obviously you're in on Justin Fields in the New York Jets offense this year.
Yeah, they'll probably be playing behind a lot. So, and Justin Fields will probably be running a lot.
Nice.
Based off that. So
I've been targeting that offense. Like Garrett Wilson's a great price this year. Breece Hall's a great price. They're all great prices. They're kind of like discounts for being on the New York Jets. But the fact that Justin Fields has a 40-point ceiling any given week.
Yeah.
Breece Hall is a threat to have 70 receptions and 1,500 total yards. Like Garrett Wilson is a volume beast. The offense is consolidated. Like, who's the second target? Josh Reynolds, Mason Taylor. Like, Brees, this is why I'm huge. I'm in on the entire. It's just a consolidated target tree, and I could see the main guys: Brees Hall, Garrett Wilson, Justin Fields, just cleaning up as far as volume goes.
One thing I like about Fields this season, and I haven't done I do need to look deeper at the schedule, is the style of quarterback that Justin Fields is. Doesn't make a lot of reads, not more than one or two, and then he's running. So like, look for those teams with really strong DBs and places where a passing quarterback would take coverage sacks. I think those are exactly the spots that you want to make sure you're locking up Justin Fields in for DFS purposes, and make sure he's in your lineup for redraft.
Excellent point, Matt. Definitely, that makes total sense, and that definitely great point. All right, so we got Drake May. It rounds up with Bo Nix, Drake May, Patrick Mahomes. I'm trying to think of a quarterback that's not on this list.
Stafford.
Yeah.
Dak.
Dak is beautiful. Why don't we talk about Dak in this format and where he's going? I've seen some live draft boards where he's gone in the 8th round. I mean,
if not later, yeah.
If I can get Dak Prescott, I consider him 6-point passing touchdown format. I consider him a QB1.
And you can get a couple sneaks in there too.
Yeah. I don't know how much running he'll do these days. I want him to stay healthy.
Is the Josh ADHD ADP app that I think Fantasy Life is hosting again this year, is that aggregating ADPs yet, or are they waiting for the slows to turn that stream on?
It's good. It's good to go.
Nice.
So it's been used in the live draft, and then there's a guy on Twitter or X too. I forget his name. It's like Kent. It starts with a W. Like Wirebach also has something like that too, but it's just for live currently. So,
what's the handle that I sent you that had the live ADP? Was that?
That's the one I was talking about.
Oh, okay. I couldn't remember the name. It pops up on my feed because I think I had him. I think he did the same thing last year, and I kind of had like a notification set. It started showing up out of nowhere when Scott Fishbowl started coming around. So, that's definitely a good source of live ADP.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to Rick's top 10 flex ranks. Non-quarterback players. We got Bijan at 1, Trey McBride above Brock Bowers at 2 and 3, CD above Jamar Chase at 4 and 5. Saquon, CMC, Genty, Gibbs, and Jacobs. So it rounds out. So the last 5 are all running backs. Rick, take us through this list and give us some explanation.
Well, Bijan led the league in scoring last year. I have him set for a median of 649.3 points for the year, which averages out to 38.2 points per game. Just based volume is king, right? So he's getting all the volume on the run game and some of the pass game, so he should be number 1 overall. And then Trey McBride.
Yeah, explain that over Bowers because I'm on the same. I'm on the same page, but I want to hear. I want you to make me feel good about that decision.
I think he got like 2 or 3 touchdowns last year, and then this year I have him projected for 7. So
that's it.
Just a positive regression. That's all it is.
Nice. I think I can get down with that. I mean, Bowers is still going to be effective, obviously, right?
And I have Trey McBride at 642 points per game or for the year with a 37.8 average. So
yeah, like I said, I took him last year, and he was doing like 37, 42, 33, 39, and I was like, boy, that was a good friggin' call. Like, and now you're talking, if you play on sleeper, you get 3.5 points per reception. Like,
right.
That's why these tight ends are ranked that high. I love your rankings. I'm not gonna the only thing I don't like is Josh Jacobs, and it's because I don't know why. I can't even argue it because there's nobody behind them, so I can't even argue. But just weird seeing him in the top 10. But volume, but it's because volume is king. So
right.
in this format, so I understand it.
And I also have McBride higher than Bowers because I have McBride with 155 targets to Bowers 145 targets. No targets aren't included with sleeper, but we have McBride with 117 catches to 109 from Bowers.
Nice.
I'm guessing those figures mostly reflect more target competition in Detroit relative to Arizona.
Las Vegas.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Nice,
Matt.
Matt, let me ask you a question because this is often a topic on the sports affiliation. What do you think about Saquon Barkley and the curse of 370? Do you have any thoughts on this?
Wow, the curse of 370. I haven't heard that since an ESPN pod circa 2009 with Rashad Mendenhall while I was still living in the great city of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Dang. I think that down the stretch, you saw the coaching staff be very intentional about his utilization in those weeks, I don't know, 14 or so through 18, especially when talk about chasing the all-time rushing records, started creeping in. So I don't think I'm that worried about that. I think the curse of 370 is a bit anathema to the sort of health and sports science of its time as well, and athletes are just better about when to rest and how to prepare their bodies, massage, cold tub, whatever for the game. So I don't think it's a concern. I could see them wanting to make sure that they have preserved that asset for the off season. So you might see a little bit of a slower start this season, given all the postseason activity. But I don't think I'd worry about it too much.
I agree. I think
I have a follow-up.
Go ahead, Rick.
What do you think of the Madden curse?
Well, I don't know. Is this what's the rating on this podcast? Because I'll just rewind everything I said, but with saltier language.
Yeah,
nice. So, I mean, I agree with Matt. I think that they're gonna properly manage his workload. We know that he doesn't give a shit about breaking a record when he sat last year. And the coach wanted him to go in, and he was like, "I'm good." Yeah, so I think that Saquon himself knows how to manage his workload, and I don't think that he'll let Philadelphia overwork him if it comes down to that. He's really, I think he's a highly disciplined player. He's a veteran at this point. He's gone through his injury adversities already. And I just think that he knows his body better than anyone else. And I'm fully confident that he's going to get through the season unscathed. I mean, I really hope that. I mean, you never know. Things can happen. You never know. But I think as far as being overworked, it ain't going to be because he was overworked. CMC at 7. Why don't we get some thoughts on CMC?
If he's healthy the entire year, he will probably be a little higher. Just with Ayuk being out, they have Juwan Jennings, who I love. I live bet him MVP Super Bowl 2 years ago because he threw a touchdown to McCaffrey. They have Ricky Pearsall and George Kittle. So just give him the ball. He'll be fine. Volume is king, right?
Yeah, volume is king. Matt, you think he gets all that volume though? Is Garendo a concern, or the James the rookie?
Yeah, I don't know. I think that I think that I care less about competition, and I probably care more about what's the simpler question, like what's the likelihood that he's healthy, and that we've seen guys that have had multiple, lower extremity injuries not come back from them the same way. So I do worry a little bit about that. So I think in this format, he's a bit of the same high variance play that, like, I know I mentioned Travis Hunter on the show earlier, but like in terms of what your expected production is, the median is probably middle of the field for, he's probably, I don't know, maybe a little lower than where Rick has him on his median outcome, but that range could be number 2, could be 30. Who knows? At the flex position. So I don't love that uncertainty where you've got to pull him. I'm guessing late 3rd round, and so I don't know.
He's going like beginning of the 2nd.
Yeah, somebody else can have him.
Yeah,
that's how I feel about it. I'm not gonna lie.
Like, I'm actually debating drafting him at 105. That's at this time. I don't know yet.
Kind of flip the build a little bit. Yeah.
I'll believe it when I see it, Rick.
There's another player on this page that I really like.
Me too.
That I'll probably draft at 105. That is kind of odd as well. That's CeeDee Lamb, because he's going usually in the 2nd round.
I think a healthy Dak and George Pickens is probably his efficiency. I think he's gonna have his most efficient season in the last couple of years. Like, because 2 years ago he was a beast. I had him on Scott Fish. He was a beast, volume wise. Last year when Dak, Dak's health, it all comes down to Dak. As long as Dak is healthy, CD is like a top 5 player without question. He gets the volume. Not
necessarily, because Cooper Rush was throwing him the ball quite a bit as well.
Right. But I feel like his ceiling kind of took a hit last year because defenses were really, really keyed in on him. That's what my point on Pickens coming in.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, so I think he's going to be as efficient as all hell this year. We probably should be taking him earlier than we are. I know some people are still going Neighbors over Lamb, and I think that's a mistake. 100%, that's a mistake. As good as Malik Neighbors is, Malik Neighbors has a ceiling of better than every player on this list, but it can't happen until all the situation in the New York Giants is optimal.
So is that Jackson Dart FUD?
Not really. No, I don't think Jackson Dart's going to be the guy. I mean, I could be wrong. I hope he's the guy because I really like Malik Neighbors and I want him to take off. That's how I feel about Malik. But
let's go, Jameis.
Yeah. So, Rick, why don't you give us what's the difference between Genty and Gibbs here? Is it the volume? It's the volume, right?
1 second. Sorry. Am I muted?
You keep bouncing back and forth. I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, my laptop's throwing me off. Yeah, it's the volume. Genty's going to get more rush attempts, and Gibbs is going to get more catches, obviously, with the offensive line going down in Detroit with the center and I believe left guard. I could be wrong on that. Off the team, I have Gibbs with more catches, but Genty with more rush attempts.
Right. I can see that. Matt, I got a question for you now because you had A-Chain 2 years ago. A-Chain's not on this list. Now with Jonnu moving and A-Chain's potential volume going up, do you think he should be on this list over Josh Jacobs or no? You think
I think Miami does something for either another pass catching running back or a short range sort of slot receiver or tight end or similar. It just seems like the passing tree is a bit thin, and I suspect that they'll do something down there before minicamp starts.
Are we feeling any better about Waddle?
He's always been a strong role player. I don't know that you can get enough snaps out of him for him to be a 1B, 1A, depending upon how you feel about Tyreek. No knock against him when he's on. He's magnificent, but
right.
I just still think like you don't have a lot of options, and like the argument we made earlier in the Dallas offense, you need one or two options to open up opportunity for any one of them. And I suspect Miami will do something before camp starts to enable that for Eugene, Waddle, etc.
Was that an Ollie Gordon tweet? or
and I, in pre-draft best ball, I think I might have about 40% Ollie Gordon. So
I've been hammering him lately. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, he's lovely.
Yeah, I think he might have a role in the offense. I'm not gonna I like him. I like his profile. I like his film. And I like that McDaniel is calling the plays, And if something were to happen to A-Chain, I prefer him over Jalen Wright. As much as I like Jalen Wright, but Jalen Wright would be like the grinder, I feel like, in the situation if A-Chain went down. And he wouldn't
We've already seen that a little bit with the Mostert outages this past season. So, yeah, I think that makes sense.
All right. So, let's move on to 11 through 20. We got Puka, A-Chain at 12, Neighbors 13, St. Brown 14, Justin Jefferson at 15. That just sounds weird. Kyron Williams at 16, Chase Brown 17, Ladd McConkey 18, Jonathan Taylor 19, and Nico Collins 20. Rick?
Let me just address the elephant in the room. Justin Jefferson at 16. I was shocked when I ran the numbers.
15.
Yeah, 15, sorry. Let's see.
It just sounds weird. You know what, though? He puts up some duds every now and then. So yeah.
So I have Jefferson at 106 catches with 9 touchdowns, which is just below all the receivers beforehand. So,
right. So he's not, and people are taking him in the first round. So you're not in on him in the first round, obviously.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, that feels a little best ball pilled. I think in most on the major platforms, he's certainly before 1.6, often in the 102 to 1.5 range, depending on format.
That single quarterback, though. In Superflex, he's what, 109 maybe?
A little further down than that. The puppy build Superflex, he's going 110 or 111 in the couple of rooms I've been in.
Yeah, and Scott Fish, he's going 112 to 201 ish. So
yeah, he's probably somebody I'm not picking either. So Rick, I gotta say, your rankings are pretty solid.
thank you.
We got Puka at 11, which I'm not, again, for the same reasons of Justin Jefferson. I'm not getting much of Puka either, and it's mainly because I'm huge on Devontae Adams. Like you don't understand. Devontae Adams is like elite. Like I still consider him one of the top 5. I'll say 5 wide receivers in the league, and he's now joining Matt Stafford, who I also believe is an elite NFL quarterback, not fantasy, but NFL quarterback, bottom tier elite. I think the Rams have Super Bowl potential with both of them. I see Adams getting more touchdowns than Nakua. So now Nakua will probably have slightly more volume, but Adams gets a volume himself. So this is kind of where I'm at on Puka and why I don't have much of him. I just don't think he's worth his cost as far as ADP goes. I don't know. Give me some thoughts.
What you do is if you like, you get Puka. You get Puka in like the first or second towards the end. You get Devontae Adams like third or fourth, and then you get Stafford, so you get a double.
You get Stafford in like the 14th.
You get a double stack there.
yeah.
Yeah, and you're getting like 24 touchdowns.
Yeah, but here's the. I rather use that pick that I'm using on Puka on somebody else, and then take Adams in that third round, and then pray for that contingent upside that Adams has if Puka were to miss time. Because Puka's sustainability throughout the entire season, based on his volume and his role, concerns me. It always has. What he does when he's on the field and healthy, there's no argument. He's more efficient than almost everybody. He's like a Amon-Ra St. Brown plus when he's fully healthy. So there's no argument what he does when he's healthy. It's just a security concern, I guess, per se, to be risking a first or a second round pick.
Gotcha. But if you're wanting to like win something like this, you have to take risk.
I agree. I can get down with that, Rick.
Draft like you're right. Rams winning the division. Yeah.
You have to lean into your build. I get it in order to maximize it 100%.
Right. That's what I was saying. Like if you like Nakua and Adams, you could just draft them both and then get Stafford later on, and then you're getting 6 points with the quarterback, 6 points with the receiver, so you're getting 12 points. And then if the other receiver gets a touchdown, you get another 12. So I think stacking doesn't get brought up enough in like this format.
Well, why don't
the only
talk
place
about
I like?
Rick?
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Matt. Finish your statement.
Only spots where I like a double is when you've got one of those especially veteran statue quarterbacks, where you're going to get very close to 0 rushing yards out of them. You might see a first down or two on a 4th and 1, but with Kyron there, I think they like him a lot more with that short yardage. So I think that Stafford, Burrow, although he's more expensive, are the sort of quarterbacks you're looking for if you are going to do a double in a redraft format. But I don't know. There's only a couple of those guys with offensive weapons that you kind of like. Maybe Dallas is one of them. I don't know.
I was just going to say,
I want to see it in Pickens first, and so that means I'm not going to double.
I was just going to say that Dak, Pickens, and CD seems achievable in drafts as well. Amon-Ra at 14. So this is another guy. He's in there with the Nakuas and the Jeffersons, guys that I haven't had much shares of because I have concerns based on their ADP. Oh, do we have any concerns about St. Brown? Like, why don't you guys give me some thoughts on St. Brown in the Detroit offense with a new offensive coordinator?
He's the best player on the field, and he's going to get targeted the ball. That's pretty much the gist of it.
Okay. You don't. So you don't think that like the way Ben Johnson designed his offense, that particular position was the centerpiece. Like, you don't think that that's going to change?
No.
No? Matt, any thoughts on that?
I'm counting 11 indoor or favorable weather location games. I don't care.
Nice. Okay. No concerns with St. Brown. Maybe something I have to revisit.
Well, isn't Campbell's still the head coach, so he's going to put whoever he wants at the offensive coordinator spot and do what he wants, like have his vision on what to do.
So you don't, yeah. So I was kind of leaning towards that. Like not much is going to change, but I still leave a little bit of room for, what happens if adversity strikes or like the games, somebody's shutting down the offense. Who's going to benefit the most? And the only answer I keep coming up with is Jahmyr Gibbs. I feel like Jahmyr Gibbs could be leaned on more this year. So
Waymo JMO, let's go.
And JMO was always a hit. I have a little, I have a lot of JMO shares, but I have a slight, in the back of my mind, I have a slight concern because the timing of the play calling was just awesome last year. And is it going to be the same? Because it's all about the big play with JMO, and we know that if Detroit softens up the offense and then they hit you with JMO when you're not expecting it and it's over with. So, is the offensive coordinator going to be able to coordinate that again? So
that's just like a bigger name, Darius Slayton, almost, where Slayton just runs downfield and catches the ball. So, and scores. Yeah. I have St. Brown at like wide receiver 5, I think. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 5 in this format. I think that's fair.
Okay. Now we got Chase Brown, Ladd McConkey, Jonathan Taylor, Nico Collins. Give us some thoughts on Chase Brown, and do we have any concerns about Taj Brooks or his role, his volume, and his role being less than it was down the stretch last year?
I have no issues with Zach Moss or Brooks. You forgot Zach Moss.
So he's like a cut candidate, I'm hearing. So
no.
I definitely have no concerns about him. Taj Brooks has a great rookie profile, and I guess the way I see it is he's contingent upside. And I think that Chase Brown is going to dominate pretty much most of the touches.
I have him for 236 attempts, so I don't have a calculator in front of me, but
that's good enough. That's
good enough. Yeah.
We got Ladd round. Is there anybody, Matt? Is there anybody not on this top 20 that you're keying in on, or that you might want to talk about or highlight?
I'm looking at the ADP real quick.
Yeah. Take your time.
Wide receiver.
Is there a third tight end? Like, where would you slot Kittle in?
Probably the next tier after this. The thing is with the points, like the 2 tight ends are 630 points plus, and then Kittle's like 490. So it's like that's a huge dip. So probably like 3rd or 4th round for Kittle.
Yeah, I think him and Brian Thomas is like the other wide receiver that I'm thinking, just outside of this range, but a guy you really
I have Thomas below Nico, so like 21. So.
Right. And let's talk about Travis Hunter and the defensive scorer. How much of a boost does this give him?
I don't know. That's the one thing I've had an issue with. I think he'll make some plays throughout the year, but like if this scoring were to keep up, like the next couple years, he'd be better, but not for the rookie year. I think he's going to be mainly receiver.
Right. So I have him as a +6. So if he averages, say, 18.7 points per game, add 6 to that for an average. It's gonna fluctuate. Obviously, some games he's gonna have a 42. Some games that ain't gonna happen, and hopefully he produces offensively when that doesn't happen, so that your floor isn't crushed based on where you're taking him. He's going like his range is like
101 to fourth round.
102. I say 1-2 turn to like the 4th round. Realistically, some people are nuts and take him in the But so we'll say, yeah. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, so that +6, that's what, like 1 tackle and 3 or 4 passes defended is kind of the stat line you're factoring in.
And an interception maybe a couple of times, on top.
Yeah, as a median. Okay.
That's kind of where I have him at. So that's kind of why I said earlier, Rick, I kind of, I'm not reaching to get him. If he falls to me in the right spot, I'll take him.
Take him.
Yeah.
I'm kind of the fool that brought him up early. I don't care about him that much. The guys that I do care about, the blocking tight end that plays gunner on the punt team, who's going to have an opportunity to tackle. I think that's a discriminator. The nice. Folks like who's the wide receiver? He's like the wide receiver 5 or 6 in Dallas. Came over from USFL. Kavonte Turpin. So last year he got return yards. So this is like the anti-return yards, but like same special teams influence. Like look for that. And I think that's going to be a discriminator in like really late rounds, like the last 2 picks, the last 3 picks, who you're picking up off the waiver wire. I think that's going to be a thing to pay attention to for sure.
Great points. That was going to be my next question. Are there any players outside of Travis Hunter that could potentially benefit from this scoring system?
A quarterback that throws a lot of picks.
I was thinking DK Metcalf because Pittsburgh ain't, Aaron Rodgers throws a pick, he's all up in arms. He ain't going for a tackle. DK.
Jameis Winston's in scope here.
Malik Neighbors, if Jameis is playing. Or Wan'Dale Robinson.
I remember that 30 interception, 30 touchdown season in Tampa Bay a couple of years back.
So now, Rick, I'm going to bring up the one player I don't see on this top 20 list who I have ranked. Like, I probably have him on, like, way high. I'm not going to say where, but I have, because his ADP doesn't reflect it. But I have him way higher than most in this format, and that's Alvin Kamara. Give us some thoughts on Alvin this year.
How many rushing yards do you think he goes for?
Say about 800.
Okay, because I have him for 875, and then let me go to, and then I have him for 61 catches.
See, I got him more than that. I have him more catches than that. I think he pushes 80 again.
And then I got him for 7 touchdowns, which I have him below Derrick Henry. It's not terrible, but
I also bake in the fact that he could be moved at any point during the season based on the Saints wanting to actively tank or rebuild, I suppose. He is an aging running back taking up salary. So if he were to get moved, obviously it would be to a team that wants him, seeking him out, that needs him. So if he were to get moved to a better situation, I'm also baking that in. And that's
when have the Saints ever cared about salary?
This is true. This is true, Matt. But but grandson Manning is on the prowl, so maybe the perspective is changing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, bring the Wunderkind home. I got you.
He's going to the Jets.
The Jets.
The Jets.
Nice. Oh, what about Cleveland? They can use another rookie quarterback.
They got Sanders. They're good.
I agree. I'm actually. I think Shador. He gets it at some point. I really do believe that. Funny you bring that up.
As long as he doesn't speed to like getting speeding tickets going like 50 over, he should be fine.
Nice. All right. So now that we got through the rankings, why don't we talk about Scott Fish Live Boston for a few minutes before we close it out? So Scott Fish Bowl 13, we know that Frank Duffy ruined my experience. We don't have to talk about that.
What happened? Can you remind me? I really don't remember.
You guys remember, you assholes. No, and then last year...
I really don't.
Last year was the Gala event, and we... I want to say, I appreciate you guys. You guys got there early. You scored a seat at the main table. You were all set up nice. I showed up a little bit later. There was no seat for me. I had to sit off to the side in a little circle table, and you guys got up off the main table and joined me. So I just want to thank you for that. That was great. Made me feel a little bit involved and not so bad for showing up.
The nostalgia of being able to sit at the child's table again, it was nice for me too, Joe. It was really nice for me too.
Nice. I will say I'm really looking forward to this year. I honestly could care less about how I draft and who I get. In the moment, I'll draft who I draft. Nothing's going to change about how I play, but I want to have this year. I'm going to be really sociable. I'm more comfortable with myself. I'm out here on the podcast. People know who I am now, so I'm not going to be socially awkward when it comes to just shooting the shit outside of fantasy football, being normal. So I'm really looking forward to connecting with you guys. And everybody else for that matter, and just enjoying each other's company more so than the draft itself. But outside of that, I have no other thoughts. I think Rick's frozen. Is Rick frozen? He looks like one of the foes. And you remember Doom back in the day? Doom, like the zombies that come across and you got to shoot. It's kind of like what Rick's reminded me of right now.
Frozen, let it go.
Yeah,
let it go. We're gonna get demonetized, aren't we? If I keep singing.
I'm back.
Rick's back. Nice. All right. Well, listen. Appreciate you guys coming on, especially you, Matt. I know you were notified a little bit later than you probably wanted to be.
I was at a 2-year birthday party for a brewery and got popped the question, so it was lovely.
Nice. Rick, is there any space in that beer league? Can I get in that one this year? You guys have any openings?
Yeah, we got 2 openings.
I think I might be interested. I think I might.
Okay.
I think I might make some room for that. I'm afraid when week 1 comes around, and I got to set my lineups because I've had this conversation over and over again. But I want to do some leagues that kind of have meaning to me this year, as opposed to all high stakes crap.
So one thing I kind of brought over from Scott Fishbowl in that league is doing a live draft. It's kind of hard to do it with people across the country, but we did it last year. It was a ton of fun. We just did it through Zoom, though.
Okay. Yeah. No, definitely count me in on that. I'm in. I want to mention the donation again. We get the little ticker going at the bottom of the show, at the bottom of the screen here. fantasycares.org/GF2. Jeff Lambert gave me this link before the show. all donations to Fantasy Cares are matched up to $1,500. Definitely do that. All of it goes, 100% of it goes to good cause. I know that when I play poker, if I win a certain amount of money, I do $50, $25, whatever it is. I hit a benchmark, I do a donation. That's kind of how I built it up. I started that in February. Definitely after this show, I'm going to go on there and do another donation because I don't think I donated for like a few weeks now. So other than buying a shitload of T-shirts. But, that I suppose that goes to the cause too. Rick, go ahead, Rick.
Yeah, one quick thing. The Scott Fishbowl Podathon starts this Sunday at 12 o'clock. So that's another way you could donate through there as well, through the Fantasy Cares YouTube channel.
Sal Lito, he's got a list of millions of guests. I took a quick glimpse at it today. I know that there's an overnight. They're going 24 hours straight this year, not 12 and 12. So that's pretty cool because the overnight hours going to be fucking great. I'm definitely going to, if I don't catch it live, which I probably won't, maybe, I don't know. I'm not on vacation till the 13th, so I probably won't catch it live, but that's probably going to be the best part of the show is those overnight guests, man.
I feel bad for the poor schmuck running the 4 a.m. Eastern, 1 a.m. Pacific run. But, maybe if I'm having insomnia or the kiddos up, I'll plug it in for a minute.
Yeah, you're going to listen to it anyways after the fact. And it's always a great time. But definitely get involved if you're not involved. It's a great cause. Scott Fish is awesome. Literally, nobody pays money to play. Nobody wins anything. Everybody just donates all their money, and everybody still takes it serious to the point where they're trying to win the tournament. So I don't think there's any other fantasy football league that can claim that. So that right there is impressive to me. So if you're not involved, sign up for Scott Fishbowl 16. They're already taking sign-ups. Who knows? Are they done giving out entries to 15? I believe they are, right?
I think they're pretty close, if not already, yeah.
If you want to get into Scott Fishbowl 15, you need to be paying attention to Scott Fish's Twitter handle and when he goes live, and because then when he goes live on podcast, there's a chance they give away a spot, via a duck race or whatever, trivia, or however they do it. So
there's also a best ball contest on Underdog. It's like $10.
Yes.
$10.
It's $5 last year. $10 this year.
Yeah, and it's like if you finish in the top like 500, you get a free spot. So
it is top 500. Yep. Good call, Rick.
Yeah, they're also donating. I think after their overhead, they're donating proceeds to the charity as well.
Nice. All right. Rick, again, thank you. Matt, thank you for coming on. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
This has been fun, man. This was great. Me and Rick had talked about last year, the three of us starting a podcast together, which was just galaxy brain at that point. And now we're actually on a pod together, and we did a show, and it's pretty cool. So I'm looking forward to July 20th. Can't wait to see you guys and hang out. Let me see. Do I have anything else to add? I don't think I do. You guys got anything? No? We're all good. I'd like to thank everybody in the audience that tuned in, everybody in the chat. Next week, I don't think there's going to be an Aces Up show. I'm on Is next week I'm on vacation? Yeah, next week I'm on vacation, so I don't think there'll be an Aces Up show. So we don't have a guest. I can't promote you guys a guest. But tomorrow night we have Jeff Lambert on Thursday Checkdown with me and Rick before the 4th. So if we don't see you, I'll wish you guys a 4th again tomorrow night. But happy 4th of July to you guys, to everybody out there. We're gonna get out of here. Appreciate you guys.
Be well. Thanks.